Hey, welcome back to Just Checks Out. I am Jess, and we are checking out some books today. And look, I put some lights on the tree, basically for this video, because we keep forgetting to do it. But I'm doing it because it's Christmas. It's actually Christmas Eve, so let's go with me here. Alright, I'm going to do a very quick video today. We're going to do a review of two classics really quickly, and then we're going to do a review of a Christmas Carol tag, and then we're going to be done. Hallelujah. Okay, so first, I read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and it was read by Tim Curry. It was on Audible Plus. Great service. I don't have anything with them. I'm enjoying it because I got the free Friday sale, and I get like 3 months free, and I get 3 free books. So thanks. Okay, so I loved the book, and I was surprised because I sincerely dislike Charles Dickens in all manners of the word. I appreciated the fact that it was very different from what you see in the movies. The movies seem to be made of each other versus being made from the source material, because source material is way more uplifting almost, which is surprising considering it's Charles Dickens. I was very surprised by these basic facts as well. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I felt like everything kind of worked together. The atmosphere, the feeling. You know, it was Victorian, but it wasn't like oppressively Victorian like usually Dickens stuff is, so 5 out of 5 stars. Tim Curry was awesome too, because, well, it's Tim Curry, and he's the reason I even listened to it at all. And then I read The Christmas Halflings by Mary Elizabeth Braden, who does a lot of Victorian women's fiction as well, different eras in the Victorian period, I believe. She wrote this really interesting book about what happens if your Scrooge character is a Scrooge of his own making, and how does he fix it when he has isolated himself from the world for the most part. I found that really interesting, and I thought it was really fun and different. And, you know, like I said, I usually don't read classics, but I'm trying to read more. That's part of my goals from 2023, is to read more classics by women. And I think that if you're looking for something that's roughly 3 hours, has a lot of ups and downs, it's really energetic and fun. Highly recommend it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5, but I rounded up to 5. I feel like it was worth rounding up to 5, to be honest. The quibs were my thing about kids and things, and how sometimes they can be a little bit too precocious, but that's just me. And I'm not going to hold that accountable for my dislike of that particular idea. Okay, so now we're going to do the tag, and then I'm going to edit this and put it up, and then I'm not going to think about this channel for like 3 days, because apparently Christmas here lasts Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day. In Germany, that's what it is. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get 3 days of Christmas. Cool. Okay, first up, I think Lauren Wade did this, and I will link to the original video. And I found this through just randomly looking up book tags for Christmas, and I just read A Christmas Carol, so kind of, you know, back and forth. Okay, so The Book of Christmas Past. That one was easier for me because I used to love these Reader Digest. I have the pictures up here somewhere. Thank you whoever on Amazon put them on there, because I couldn't find an actual picture of the book itself. And came out in like 1983. It was like a Reader Digest fairy tale compilation. Loved it. That was how I learned I love Snow White and Red Rose, The Little Match Girl, The Nightingale, The Little Mermaid, and a whole bunch I liked. Apparently I like very depressing fairy tales and mythologies, but anyway. So I gave that as a child. I loved it. I read it like multiple times. If you happen to see one with a Smurf, please contact me, because that's actually my copy, and I don't know what happened to it. It's actually got a Smurf, like, vinyl thing or whatever on it that I got when I was like very little. Like, it's a sticker, but it's like a stick on it. Okay. Anyway, so that one was first, even above Mother Goose, and I loved Mother Goose as a show. And then The Ghost of Christmas Present is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. Loved that one. Lessons in Chemistry had a lot of heart and soul and feeling and connection, and just everything kind of worked out really well together for them. Them being like the characters and the storyline, everything kind of like gelled together. And it's one of the few things that I really enjoyed that, you know, is very popular, and I really, really got into it. I found it highly entertaining, and it has a lot of trigger warnings, but to me the book is worth it. I will link my review on Instagram in the comments somewhere, or Ghost of Christmas Future. That one is a little bit different. So my most expected one is a HarperCollins, and I'm trying not to cross the picket line to talk about that. So I can't really talk about my favorite upcoming one that I'm really excited for because it ends a trilogy that I've been really enjoying. So I will say A House of Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. And now, if you know anything about me, you know I love T. Kingfisher from this year. Nettle and Bone and The Seventh Bride, both extremely good and some of my top reads for the year that I'll talk about when I wrap this up, probably in January because I still have like a week or so left. And I plan on reading a couple more books, so I don't want to like exclude them or have to tack something on later on because I am not that skilled right now. Okay, so in House of Good Bones, it's a Southern Gothic set in North Carolina, and it involves two siblings who have to look after their mother, who is suddenly becoming very different, and she's not acting right, and she's not acting normal, and what's wrong with this, right? And so it's kind of like digs deeper and deeper into what's going on. And I love a good Southern Gothic. I mean, I am from the South. I grew up going to North Carolina, so there's a lot of joy and value in that for me. So I didn't know it was coming out, but now I'm really excited to read it next year. And like, options like Scribd really allow me to do that because I can access books I could not get from my library because right now they don't have T. Kingfisher, and so getting this one is kind of an important audiobook for me because again, I really like the way she writes. I have a couple more I need to read throughout the next year, so I'm going to add that to my list of things I want to do, but not a reading goal. Just I would like to get to them when I can. Okay, now the next one is Bah Humbug, a book that everyone likes that you can't stand. I don't really entirely know because I don't read a lot. Like I don't read Mass, I don't read Hoover, I don't read, a lot of the popular ones. So it can be somewhat difficult. I know I did not like Lucy Foley's The Guest List, but I don't know how popular that one is because again, I don't always keep up with that kind of stuff. But I definitely can say I did not like Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. Yeah, I didn't like her at all. I didn't like the book. I didn't like the setting. I didn't like anything about it. It felt too ambitious for what the project wanted to be, and it wasn't my thing. I'm sorry to say. So we're gonna skip on and say not my cup of tea. So the next question is Bob Cratchit. So an old standard that you can always enjoy, and mine's gonna be weirdly specific as Sweet Valley High. So when I was young, I loved Sweet Valley High. This was back when you could get like the books for 25 cents to the flea market, stuff like that. And this was like the 80s versions and the 90s versions, so they had this cool little Harlequin looking type styles. But I used to love it because this is actually Christmas specific because I really, really enjoyed the way of Margot and Nora as the evil twins versus, psychotic and psychopathic Jessica and Elizabeth Wakefield, who apparently were the good twins. But there was these great like Christmas episodes between the two of them, or Christmas books that I'm putting one of the pictures up here for. I highly recommend it. There's a lot of soap, there's a lot of drama. It's a very 1980s, so if you like 1980s TV and stuff, you're gonna enjoy this a lot. The ghostwriters, there was quite a few of them, did a really good job creating some kind of symmetry between a lot of the plot lines. We're not going to talk about Francine. We're not going to talk about what she did with her books when she finally got control of them again. But in general, I think it's really fun, it's interesting, and it's very campy, which I love camp sometimes. And it's also free on Kindle Unlimited right now. She got control of them, I believe, and put them on Kindle Unlimited, so it's no longer beholden to whoever previously, had them. Actually, can't reach it. Yes, I can. Look, I even have one. This is coming up for a project at some point, but I don't have time right now. Okay, so then the Tiny Tim, a book that you think is underhyped and deserves more, attention. I am going to say there are two. First is Medusa by Rosie Hewlett. She did such a great job of creating this world of what happens if you're stuck in this position and you can't do anything about it. And it's about obviously the mythology of Medusa, and it was printed, I think, like 1 or 2 years ago, and it's indie published, and it was just this really great idea. And she's got this gorgeous cover. That's actually what grew my attention. And then I started talking to Rosie Hewlett about it, and Rosie was amazing, and she put a lot of thought into it. So if you're a fan of Jennifer Saint or Natalie Haynes, you're probably going to very much enjoy this. It's along those same veins, but not the same, because there are some differences in how the mythology has treated and giving Medusa way more agency. So I really appreciate that. And then the second one is one time I'm going to be crossing the HarperCollins thing, and that's only because it is a translated work, and I believe that the rights are actually in for America are Harper, and so it is what it is. But it's called Earth Eater by Dolores Reyes, and it was fantastic. It is a Argentinian magic realism story about a woman who can find people based on eating the earth, right? And so she can locate them through this, and it deals with the feminicide in Argentina that many of us don't even know is happening. So I found it very interesting and very fun not as in like it was haha laugh, but fun as in engaging. I guess I should say it was more engaging than fun. I loved it. It's been translated into English from Spanish. A top book for 2022 for me, and I found it purely by accident from my library because I liked the cover. I mean, sometimes covers do sell books, guys, especially with me. And then oh, by the way, I will link to that. The union has a bookshop.org section that, I guess they get the money for this, and so I want to promote that as well. So I'm going to link to that. It's, like I said, it's the one time I'm not going to feel overly bad about doing HarperCollins on this, because this is more of a translation work, and I think that more people need to find it. And we often don't read outside of our comfort zones, but this one was really well done. And there's this feeling of increased agitation and movement and atmosphere, and I loved it. So this is question 7. It is today, and basically what book gets you in the mood for Christmas, because today is Christmas Day. And I don't typically read a lot of books over and over and over again. It's just not how I read. I don't really have a ton of comfort reads. However, when I was a kid, I loved How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Dr. Seuss was very important to me. The Sneetches and that book set, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas were very important. I loved the movie, the animated movie growing up. I even somewhat can like the Jim Carrey version, but typically I don't, read a lot of Christmas books over and over again. And then question 8 is adaptation. So like, what is a good adaptation of a book that a book that's been adapted to film or TV or whatever from one? And I'm going to do 2 Christmas ones, and then I'm going to do some more below. First is Scrooge. I love Scrooge as a Christmas Carol remake. I think it's got a lot of, the dark humor and the use of great people like, I think it's Carol Kane, Bobcat, even Bill Murray. Like they use these people's strengths and they really make them work out really, really well. And I appreciate that. I found that very interesting and entertaining for me. And then I also liked A Diva's Christmas Carol, which came out in 2000. It was by VH1. It had Vanessa Williams staying as Ebony. And I loved that one. I still remember it because I would watch it like every year when I still had TV and I still had VH1. I watched it every year when it was on, because I think they just did such a fantastic job of reimagining a diva, like a music diva, and how you can kind of work within the confines of the story. Again, the stories are very different from the book, but, I already had a discussion on the November wrap-up about how some things can change very easily. And finally, I'm going to say the adaptations are Much Ado About Nothing. The Kenneth Branagh version is superior to all things. We don't talk about the Joss Whedon one. We don't. It never happened, okay? And also Clueless is a great Emma remake, because I don't like Jane Austen, but I love Clueless. And then the last 3 are The Cutting Edge, 10 Things I Hate About You, and Deliver Us from Eva. All of them are Taming of the Shrew remakes, and that's amazing because I hate Taming of the Shrew. But every single one of those movies took a different thread of that story and created a really great viewpoint and world, right? So I loved that. And I don't think a lot of people realize the cutting edge actually is one, but it actually very much is if you listen to it, I mean, she's even called Kate, right? They bring in a skater to help kind of tone her down. Same thing you see in like 10 Things, but they've kind of taken things into a different direction, I think. So I'm all for it. I love that. The Cutting Edge is one of my favorite movies of all time. And then the very last question is tag some people. It is Christmas Eve, and I am not tagging anybody because only I would be doing this on Christmas Eve. So I don't think anybody else wants to do this on Christmas Eve. And this is like the second version of this that I recorded because I really did not like the first version. So I have to edit this one. I'm going to do it very quick because I want to make it like, I want to try to make it under like 16 minutes. All right, that's it. I hope you guys have a happy holidays. I hope that you, whatever you celebrate, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, winter solstice, I hope December has been a good Christmas month for you, and I hope that you have gotten what you need out of it, and I hope that it provides you with more in the future. Okay? All right, I will see you on the next video, and bye, guys.